Hello, my name is Marilyn Malone, and I am doing my group leading proposal for Human Service Counseling Group Dynamics Course 511. This week, I was fortunate to guest facilitate a group we have at our treatment center for habitual substance users. I currently work at a methadone maintenance clinic as a substance abuse counselor, and we started offering a group for those patients who are still struggling with their secondary substance. A lot of our patients come to us with an opioid addiction, but they still struggle with amphetamine use or marijuana use, or a lot still tend to struggle with opioid use. What we started doing is having a group where up to 12 members can join, and they come in, and instead of being decreased out of treatment, they're given other tools to help them stay and focus on obtaining abstinence on all levels. So this week on Tuesday, December 5th, I was able to facilitate with another leader our second group of a 6-week group series. Group started about 10:30, and we usually have 12 participants in this group. However, with the holidays, work schedules, this one turned out to be only 10. There was 4 women and 6 men. And the way that we started was everybody was aware that I was going to be guest facilitating and as part of my course, and they all signed a consent that it was fine that I was able to let my professor and other students know that what we had gone over. So for this second week course, I wanted to focus on the triggers that most of our patients suffer from. The one thing about any substance abuse is that it is usually triggered by something. A lot of our patients can come in and maintain abstinence from opioids because they're given methadone. However, they struggle with using amphetamines, methamphetamines, cocaine, marijuana. For the purpose of this group, everybody in this group is suffering from an amphetamine secondary substance addiction. I went ahead and introduced myself, explained to them that I was there only this week to guest facilitate, and that I wanted to discuss triggers. That was going to be the focus and the context of the group this week. So what I did was we started out with introductory rounds. I had everybody go through and identify one word trigger that they felt caused them to continue to use amphetamines. So we sat in our circle, and I started to my left, and everybody went around and said one word. Some were friends, some were environment, some were habit, and quite a few were boredom. I did have 2 participants pass and choose not to share. And I told them that was okay because I haven't facilitated any group before, and if they weren't comfortable opening up to me, I didn't want them to feel pressured. During the introductory part, I had disclosed that myself is a recovering addict of 6 years, and so I understand that opening yourself up to people can be difficult. A lot of them were receptive to that disclosure because none of these participants were any of my patients, so we had never had a one-on-one session or sat down and spoke before. So when we sat down, after we had done the introductory, I wanted them to know that the way methadone maintenance treatment works is you're taking methadone to replace the opioid that you're taking. The methadone doesn't give you an euphoric high. It doesn't make you want to stop using. Those are all things that you have to work on in treatment. However, you are now able to go to work. You're able to take care of your children, You're able to take care of any legal issues you may be having. And you're able to get your life back on the track where you can be productive and you're not chained to the opiate. The biggest issue that we had in this group was a lot of the members feel that they don't need the group, and the only reason why they're doing it is because they're being decreased out of treatment. It's not safe to be on methadone and continuing to use other substances. Methadone has a really good half-life, so even if you miss a dose, you are able to stay, you shouldn't have any cravings or urges to use. However, because we haven't learned or identified our triggers, we keep putting different substances in our body to get that euphoric high. So as we went through the group, I gave everybody 2 3x5 note cards, and I wanted them to write down what their triggers are. Everybody got a green and a red colored pencil, and this way we were able to write down and express what our triggers were. I was able to keep 2 of the cards. So on the red side, it says people. This person said their trigger is the people they hang around. And so I said, well, what coping skill or what tool can you use to help you not use amphetamines around other people or the people you're hanging out with? And she had wrote on the back, being with her family and her real friends. The gentleman next to her had said, it's places where he uses. And his coping skill was to avoid them. Now, these 2 had never met before, and we generally do not suggest for patients to associate with each other. However, these 2 broke up into a dyad, and they were able to discuss that a lot of the reasons why they're continuing to use is because of situations and the people they're around. If they hadn't been in the group, they may have not known that and felt a little bit more alone. Just by watching a couple of our group members work in their dyads and discuss triggers, they were able to see that the other person is dealing with the same things they are. They were also able to bounce off each other different coping skills and relapse tools and goals, to not continue to use. As the session wound down, we discussed if anybody had any questions, if anybody had any concerns. I did ask everybody to fill out a little sheet asking how well the group went, just for my own personal growth and benefit. I've never led a group before, so this was a first for me. And the feedback that I got is that I have a tendency to ramble, totally understandable, and that I can be too friendly and not as a facilitator professional. So while I was going back through what I could do differently, learning how to appropriately self-disclose and share what I'm going through, I need to learn how to do that in a way where it benefits the group members and not myself. I did get good feedback on the way I was able to listen and how attentive I was when other people were speaking. I feel like groups is something you get better at the more you do. You learn what works for you and what doesn't. The co-facilitator had indicated that my round at the beginning of the session started off really well. Even for 2 people not wanting to share, when they did break up into their dyads, they were willing to share with the other person and not so much the group. Hopefully, as this group goes on, all 12 of these people will learn to identify their triggers and implement some of these new coping skills so they are able to get the most out of treatment. Thank you, and you guys have a great afternoon and Merry Christmas.